Alright, part 2 of modeling this little cutaway hotel. Keep in mind that the image, which comes from the internet and is not my image, is referred to in part 1. So you can download it if you want to follow along. And we're going to continue now. We've already modeled the floor and the back wall here and the windows. Now it's time to do the desk region here. I think we'll do, in this video we'll do the desk and we'll do the little plant. Very cute. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to select the plane and Shift D to copy it and P to break it out and make it a new object. Alright, okay, so we've got that. Let's go into edit mode, select it, and just hit S to scale it down like that. Let's go to top view now, and we'll go into wireframe, and let's scale this in the Y a little bit and start shaping it out. And I can use the snapping, so I'm going to snap to increment. I've got this turned on here, and now I can go into, say, vertex selection and get this to the shape that I think it should be, and we'll get it nicely placed. So let's come out to here maybe, and make it a bit thinner like that. Let's grab these and let's say we put them to there, and let's just have a look at this. So we got 4 grid units there, about 3. Let's just see what that would be like. I think it's a little bit longer. It comes pretty close to the windows and to this side. So let's grab this and bring it to there and to there. And maybe we'll grab these. And we can always adjust this later. And I think we'll grab the whole thing. Bring it to there. Let's see if that looks good. I'll make sure I got enough room in behind for the chairs and that piece, and there's not too much room out front, but that looks pretty close to what I'm going to want. Let's look from the front here, or 3 either way, maybe from the side in wireframe. Okay, I can see my windows. How high up do I want this? I think I'm going to bring it up to around that window level there. So I'm going to hit E to extrude, and let's try that. That looks a little high to me. Maybe I'm going to come down just to there. Let's have a look at that. So enough room for the suitcase and the plant, just very tight for the chairs, which makes sense, I think. I think that's going to be a little tight for those chairs too. If I grab these in wireframe, better make sure I'm in wireframe so I get the bottom vertices and pull them back. Maybe these do have to come back by 1. Alright, I think we're going to start with that. So, let's think about our shape. It's basically a rectangle, and it's going to have sort of a cutaway in here. Chances are it's open underneath, so you can slide the chairs in. Think about that later on. For now, I'm going to put an edge loop here, and an edge loop there, and an edge loop here, okay, so that we can cut that piece out. Okay, so let's go ahead and use our snapping to increment. Let's go Control R, click, drag it down to that grid unit there. That might be too thick. Do that. Let's do another one, but let's bring it to here. It's a little bit thicker. And then we're going to have to put another edge loop so we get this height thing there. So So, you know, this kind of thing, I'll go from the side. And let's try bringing it to there. Let's go back into solid view and just look at this. So what if I got rid of this and this? And we cut that out. I'll go ahead and delete those faces. All right, now underneath too. Okay, well, we'll build this and we'll see if this is going to work. I have a feeling these need to be thinner, but we can adjust that in a bit. So I'll go back into object mode, and I want to isolate just this. So I'm going to go Shift H, and now we'll go into edit mode. Okay, now let's go into vertex selection. What I need to do is I want to build the sides of each of these arms and the desk part, which would go across here. And so I'm going to have to create a couple more vertices to do this, so I can make a quad here. 1, 2, 3, and I need a point there. 4. 1, 2, 3, and I need a point there. 4. I'll also use that point there for 1, 2, and the point there, 3, 4, to make the back, that kind of thing. So I'm going to select this vertex and this vertex. I've still got snapping to increment on. That's fine because these points were snapped to an increment. I could also do this in vertex, snap to vertex. That would be fine, because what I'm going to do is from the back, right, looking that way, I'm going to extrude these down to the same height as this point and this point, and to make new geometry, new points. Okay, so that's Control 1, I believe. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit E to extrude and click, and I'm going to pull these down and hover my mouse over there, and that'll bring those points down to the same level as these. Now I can turn snapping off or leave it on. Sometimes I like to turn it off here. So I'm going to take this point and go F to make a face. It'll just draw a line, but now I can go 1, holding Shift, 2, 3, 4, and go F and fill that in. Select this point, this one, and this one, F to make a face. This one, and by the way, I'm selecting vertices, but you could, in edge selection, just select 2 edges. That one, which really gets that point and that point. Shift and get that one. Or I could do this back one and this front one, doesn't matter. And I have my basic shape. We'll think about that in just a second. So we look down from the top. Okay, and you can see the arms there. We look over here, and they look a little thinner, almost half that. And so I think we're going to have to do this a little better. So I'm going to go into wireframe, and I'm going to Shift, Alt, and click that edge. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do it that way. A better way is to, in vertex selection, box select all of these vertices. Now if I start zooming in, I see other grid and the smaller parts. I can go back to snapping to increment. I can say, all right, well, let's move this in 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we got to make sure that we get all the points, you know, along the top and all the way down through. We're moving it in 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's look at the thickness of that. I think that's going to look better. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, very nice. Now, before we go too far, it's not critical that we do the underside of the desk or the hole there where the chairs would go in, because we're not going to see that. And I'm not sure where the front of these chairs are. For the moment, let's do this piece, which really does look like a piece that's separate on top of it. You know, there's the slightest bit of gap there. So maybe it is better to do it that way. I was going to build it in, but maybe we're better off doing it that way. So what I think I'm going to do is maybe we'll select these faces. Let's do it this way. Let's turn off snapping for now. Let's go Shift D and P to break it out. And there's that piece. Set the origin to geometry. Let's go into edit mode for that. So this is a separate piece, but I don't need this edge. So I'm going to go X, dissolve edges. I'm going to grab this edge, pull it up a little bit. How far? Just a little bit. And this edge, it looks like it doesn't quite go to the edge of the desk region, but on the other hand, it does look like it does. So it's a little hard to tell. So let's stick with that, and let's try solidify. And just come out a little bit. Now, from the side, going to wireframe, it's a little bit odd. So let's try even thickness, and that ought to fix it up. And I get that. And then let's go from the side, put on wireframe, and let's turn on snap to increment. Make sure just that's selected. I'll set the origin of geometry. And let's see if we just snap it to this grid line here and there. So let's go up. Okay, well, let's snap. Let's go GZ. All right, it's going to go up that much. So what we're going to do is we will just do this by eye a little bit, GZ, and we'll move up a little bit until I'm holding shift and I'm moving just till I see that little space. Now I'm not sure if that's going to be a bit too much or what. And again, I may be putting a bevel on these, a small bevel. So we'll do that, and then I can do this in solid view. And then I'm going to move out to around here. That might be too much though. And I'm going to move in the Y direction. So I'm going to go GY. And hold down shift. Let's move slowly. And then maybe I'll just compare GY and look at my spacing. We get it roughly equal. I think that's maybe all right. I hope so. Does it make sense to me that there's a gap? I think it should be built in, to be quite honest with you. But we'll see. Let's go Alt H and bring everything back. And let's put a small bevel on this. Select the windows, go bevel. I'm going to go for 2. I'm just going to pull down until I just have a really small amount of bevel. I wanted to use a quick analogy I was thinking about. In my very early music recording videos, also on this channel, I tended to make a very common mistake, which is to use far too much reverb. And I think the analogy in Blender is that as we start out, myself included, everything has to be shiny and everything has to be super smooth and rounded and stuff like that. And so we go too much. So I tend to sometimes put too much bevel on things versus not enough. So, all right. Anyways, with the bevel on there, I'm going to select this piece and then this piece with the bevel and go Control L, make links, and just choose modifiers. I'll get the same bevel on there. Now, what happened on there? What we need to remember is this has a modifier on it itself, and that is the solidify, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and apply the solidify. And now when I select this and then this, and I choose the Windows modifiers, I won't lose the solidify. It's now applied. that looks too, like it's probably too much, but we'll see. Select this piece and then this piece. Control L, modifiers. Well, you see, so with the bevel, it changes it a little bit. And again, you can decide if you want to have a little bit less than that. So it's just ever so slightly there. I like it. The more I think about it, I just want to look at, see, I feel like it shouldn't come up a little bit from the bottom. Not much. So I'll look from the front and I'll go in a wireframe, and I don't need snapping. I'm going to box select that bottom edge. And you know what? I take it back. I am going to snap to there. There we go. So everything's all snapped except for the distance from, yeah, that looks about right. Now, let's Shift H and isolate this guy again. I feel like we should get rid of this face and this face and just make it a desk. You can still rest on the floor on these arms here. Yeah. But this piece would have to have some thickness. I'd have to bring in an edge loop here, which I think I should. Let's look from the back, which is Control 1. 1 is the front, Control 1 is the back, and let's go in wireframe. And let's bring in an edge loop and make it similar thickness to this. It's snapping to the increments, but I don't have to be too exact. Saying, okay, I want my desk to be that thick. Let's go to solid view. Okay, and then I could come in here and take that face and this face, and I could delete those faces. The truth is that I would be deleting this bottom face as well, and this one, because it's going to rest on the ground. This one and this one, and that's probably good enough. And I don't really need to build any more of it. There's nothing wrong with that as it is. Okay. So we have our desk. Let's just look at the dimensions of this thing again. Comes very close out to the side here. Maybe the same distance. I think I'm pretty happy with that. And height-wise, yeah, all right. Well, it's hard to tell until we get maybe more objects in here. For example, I was going to say this plant, I'm going to build that, and it is a little taller than the desk. And we have that, so maybe we are okay. What about this piece here, just to have it in there now that I think about it? Because it's going to come up to like maybe more than 3/4 of the height. Maybe it's worth putting that in. Let's take off snapping. Let's grab this face here in face selection. Shift D, pull it out. P to make it a new object. And set the origin of geometry, and come in here and see it goes right to the bottom, to the floor. So we're going to need to snap to increment, and we'll go in wireframe, grab this edge, let's just pull it up to the floor, and it comes about, I always use 3/4, let's grab this. Let's just start pulling it down. Okay, so with down to there. Okay, let's go up. We'll try that. This one, let's come in 1, 2. And come in 1, 2. Is that the right amount? It looks like it's... Is it in line with the desk? I think it might be. We have to think about that. There. No, sure I like it in line. I also think it's too tall because we're going to have to put those clocks on there. Yeah, it is definitely too tall. One. What if I come down two? No, that might be too short now. I think it's got to go up one more. Again, all this can be adjusted later on, which is the nice thing. Let's select it. And let's look from the side in wireframe. And it's a little bit away from the wall. Let's, if I move it out to there, hit E to extrude, and I just extrude it back. And it's 1 grid thickness. How does that look? Okay, I'm gonna worry about the discoloration in a second. I don't think it's that thick. I think it's about half that thickness. So let's go into edit mode, take it in, flip the polys, and then let's take it, that face. Let's go from the side and in wireframe. Let's zoom in till we see some other grid lines. And let's pull it in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See if we like that thickness. And I do like that thickness. Let's try selecting this and then this and putting that bevel on. And we can get rid of the back face after. Might have to come down a little bit for the clocks, but we'll see. I'm not going to get rid of the back face right now, so I can forget it later. Okay, cool. Okay, time to do the plant. Select the face. I'll turn off snapping so it doesn't go all weird. Shifty has to scale. Move it out. We can snap it in a bit, scale it a bit more. Get it in its rough position. I'm going to hit P, break it out. It's now an object. Set the origin of geometry. Period key to zoom in, and then zoom out just a little bit. Lift that up just a bit so I can see it. And let's see. Okay, it's a narrow base, very close to the front. Pretty much in line with that edge. No, not quite. Maybe halfway in between. Or so. Let's look from the top in wireframe. And I think it's too small. Too big, sorry. So I'm going to go into vertex. And I'm going to do some snapping. I'm going to box select these and I'll bring them to, do I have snapping on? No, bring them to there. And these ones, we're going to get a nice square. Maybe we'll go right here for now. And see if that looks too big still. It's right at the edge, which is okay for us. We can start with that thing. Let's extrude it up, and I believe we come up to roughly there. No, a little shorter than there, but of course that's with respect to these windows. Let's just try that anyhow. E, let's come up to maybe there. And we're going to scale out. No, I have snapping on. I don't think we're going to scale too much. Let's just scale anyway. Let's just hit S and just come out like that. Now, I should have looked at the plant relative to the desk. It's hard to tell, isn't it? Okay, it's quite big relative to the window. I think it needs to be narrower. So I'm going to forget about snapping for now, and I'm just going to scale this, but not in the Z. I'm going to go S, Shift, Z, and I'm just going to do that by eye, and then we're going to go into face selection, select that face, and we'll hit I to inset, and pull it in just to give a bit of thickness to the wall, and hit E to extrude, and pull down a little bit, down like to make the soil level, and S to scale just a little bit like that, and that'll angle these walls just a very slight amount, and we'll have that effect. Okay. Okay, looks like the soil is higher up. So I can fix that. I can come back in, grab that face, and just pull it up to about where I would want the soil to be. All right, very nice. Simple plant to make. So that's always nice. To make this top part here, we could either bring in a new cube, or we could just use the technique I'm always using these days. Select that face, Shift D, bring it up, and let's just hit E to extrude, pull it down till we get a roughly rectangular shape like that. Height looks okay. Let's hit A to select everything and Control N. That'll flip our polys. If you wanted to move just that, you can always select a piece and go Control L, and you can pull it up a little bit if you need to. And let's select this bottom piece here to make the stem, and let's I'll make it separate. So Shift D, S to scale, and then just E to extrude, and extrude it down into the soil like that. Once it's in, and that face is still selected, or if you lost it, go in there, okay, and try to find it. Let's get rid of that face, and this one here, just keep clicking until you get it and delete that face. We'll get rid of the bottom face in a minute. Let's have a look at this. It's all one piece, but we can easily put materials on that. I'm just wondering if it's high enough. Okay, so it just goes above the window level there. I think that's probably okay for our version. Let's come in here, and in wireframe, we'll get rid of this bottom face here. And we'll put our bevel on. So with that selected, and the piece of the desk, Control L modifiers. We get a small bevel. Now we get a small plant. Is it too tall? Doesn't matter. Yeah, I think it's probably okay. Do whatever you feel that you need to. Yeah. I suppose we could come in here as well and do what I said we were going to do, delete that back face. And we have accomplished what we set out to do. We have made the desk and the plant, and we even went on and did one other piece, which is this back little piece on the wall. Okay, so that's going to do it for now. We'll come back and we'll start modeling some other pieces. So we'll see you next time.